Boraboye. Teachers have a variety of different roles and functions in the lives of the people. On a certain level, your teacher is there to tell you what, right? If we look at something as simple as the alphabet, the teacher is there to introduce you to this is what the A, B, D, E, F, E, G, B, right? That's the alphabet. Then on another level, your teacher is there to help you understand what that means, okay? And so, very simply, the teacher helps you know that if you combine these different elements together, then you're going to be able to create words, okay? They can broaden your understanding to help you understand that the words can go together in different ways and create different languages, okay? So the ABDEFEGB is Abed Seche de E in Spanish, or it's ABCDEFG in English, right? And so if you put those letters together differently, you're going to have different kinds of words, and that's a different language, okay? Your teacher can help you understand what it is through time, okay? We can look at the alphabet over time, and Roman alphabet and Greek alphabet and different kinds of script that have been developed over thousands and thousands of years. All right. Now, some people at those different stages are going to start to infer other things like why that matters, why the information that the teacher's presenting is important. They're going to understand, well, if I know different languages, that means I can go to different places. And if I can go to different places, I can do different things. Maybe I can take different materials. I can take my father's woven mats from here, and I can take them to another place, and I can bring what they have and bring it back here, and I could be the best, merchant here, right? Some people are going to infer that naturally. Other people, well, they may need to be told, this is what you could do. This is why this information matters to you, right? And your teacher is going to be there either way to help you facilitate that kind of a knowledge development. This is a super important realization for right now, precisely because once upon a time, just being able to get the what, just being able to know what things were, was enough. It was, more than enough. I remember myself, here I am up at the lake here in Oakland. But once upon a time, I lived in Pasadena, Southern California, over 400 miles away. And I can tell you that the what was so important in those days that I would travel 400 plus miles just to be able to go to the library at UC Berkeley and be able to go into a specific library with just a pencil, where I could go in and I could write down for the librarian what films I wanted to see, or what audio I wanted to hear, or what books I wanted to copy. Some of it I couldn't even get my hands on at the time. I just would have to trust the title and tell them I want copies of it, or tell them I want them to bring it from this archive, and I'd look it over and copy it and try to study it, because the what was so important at that time. Nowadays, not so much. Nowadays, there's YouTube, right? So you can go on and you can find 100,000 times more information today than what I could have found 20, 25 years ago, right? But at the same time, there's a bigger problem than just being able to discover the information. The big problem now is not that we're uneducated about certain information. We're miseducated about some information. So our orientation and our attitude and our perception of that information has been grossly distorted to the point that we are utterly convinced that our misinterpretation and the miseducation that we've been given is actual fact and truth. And we defend it and support it in spite of the overwhelming evidence to the contrary. One, of my favorite examples is the idea that the Yorubas come from Egypt. It is the most ridiculous and outlandish claim that anybody could ever make. The Yoruba do not come from Egypt. There's nothing in the Yoruba world that suggests that we are Egyptian. There's nothing in our cosmology, nothing in our pantheon, nothing in our oral tradition, nothing in our iconography, nothing. The things that people cling to are so very superficial that it's laughable at a level of real serious study. For example, people will say something like, well, binary code, right? Ifa is everywhere. Ifa is not everywhere. Ifa is Yoruba. Binary code and those symbols, yeah, that is something that people have known and discovered over thousands of years, just like they've known how to use the moon to tell time. A lot of people use the moon to tell time. It doesn't mean that they all came from the same place. It doesn't mean they learned it from the same place. It means that they sat and they had the same kind of an experience. They sitting under the dark sky over thousands of years and noticing how this white orb reappears in the sky, and then being able to talk about it with the fishermen, with the hunters, with the farmers, and coming to this conclusion that, hey, when this happens, other things happen. There are other phenomena that coincide with the full moon. Hey, let's try this. And over thousands of years, they figured out, yes, it is true. That's what anthropologists call parallel evolution. Okay? It doesn't mean that everybody who uses the moon to tell time come from the same place. It doesn't mean that people who use the stars to navigate all come from the same place. People who use binary code, for one reason or another, they don't all have to have learned it from the same place. All right? You've got to have more than this superficial evidence to validate something as vast as an entire group of people or an entire knowledge base migrating from one place to another. But that is a knowledge, a miseducation that is now attached to a whole set of values and beliefs and feelings that is very difficult to change. And that's the challenge that we're facing right now. People don't want to have their beliefs challenged or changed. And so the teacher's job is more daunting today than it was 20, 30 years ago.